I'm in Pennsylvania, so near Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I noticed this really interesting old, what looks like it's a bridge, possibly even a tunnel. There's a river here. I believe this is Jones Creek, and we have this stone structure. And actually, if we go over here, we see it's pretty deep and pretty extensive. So there's the end of it right there. This is the left tunnel has the river in it, or the creek in it. And the right tunnel looks like it could have held the creek at one point, or it could have held, would be able to accommodate the creek if it was flowing higher than it is now. But yeah, this is a pretty sizable and impressive structure. Looking at the top there, actually looks like the top is covered in trees and completely overgrown. So I have no idea what this used to be used for. And just looking around, there's actually a cornfield back in there, so this is pretty much farm country. There's also an interesting covered bridge that's just less than a mile away from here, which I also stopped to take some pictures of. That's actually why I came down here, but as I was coming down here, I noticed this tunnel. So there's some amounts of graffiti, but yeah, there's Sad Face, Big Sad. There's SE1, and you can see even on this side there's a little water. And when I get home, I'm gonna have to figure out what this tunnel was actually used for. Then there's this wall, and there's actually the road up on top of there. So there's a road on top of there, which is the road that leads to the covered bridge. This is Jones Creek. This is the other end of it. So there's the stone wall. There's a red flag there for some reason, not really sure why. There's some brickwork right down there. Yeah, looking at it, it looks like here's a view from the other end, and see there's vines growing off of it. I mean, I'm actually guessing that kids could swing down those vines if they wanted to. The structure is a bit of a mystery, though. If I had to guess, I would guess that this was some type of fill for a railroad, and this tunnel was used to was used to let the river or the creek go through. It's sort of like what they had at High Bridge. Although this isn't as tall as the bridge at still at High Bridge, but the tunnels under it and the creek are actually a bit larger. So another view of this tunnel, and you can actually hear a train horn in the background. So there are railroads nearby. And I know that this is near Allentown, so I know that the Lehigh Valley, the Central Road of New Jersey, and the Reading Railroad probably, among others, would have been operational in this area. So maybe it was associated with one of them. In fact, for all I know, this could still be operational. It actually looks like the creek gets pretty deep over here. Actually, what I've seen is in a lot of places where they have these bridges or tunnels, the stream of the creek gets deep as it goes through them. Particularly downstream of them. It's probably because the tunnel constrains the water and then creates a current which digs out the stream or the stream bed. So yeah, this is entering the tunnel again. So that's GCR and something stupid. There's a cinder block down there. But yeah, for a tunnel like this, it doesn't have a lot of graffiti, although the ground is covered in, see, there's water down there and mud. I imagine during the wetter seasons, both sides of the tunnel would be covered with, or would be filled with water. But yeah, just to look at the ceiling, there's some seams and stuff. Yeah. And there's a path of rocks and there's some water over there. That looks like that's one of the universal symbols. I'm going to say it's a rocket ship. And this is the exit. So the interesting thing is this tunnel actually goes under here and it seems to bend and have a corner right there. So maybe this was at a bend in the creek or something of that nature. Yeah, this is down the left side tunnel, which is the one I walked through. And there's a third arch, which is what the road goes under. So I'm going to take a couple shots of that in a second. But yeah, it's an impressive structure. It's really quite large, considering it's probably 6 times my height, so maybe 30 to 40 feet high from the bed of the creek to the top. This arch is obviously a little smaller. And you can see there's some steel beams that are exposed like this right here. So this would be a reinforced concrete, and this would be some of the rebarb. You can see additional rebarb that's exposed up there. You can see some decay over there, but other than that, it's obviously in pretty good shape. And if they wanted to, they could definitely run, well, vehicles, trains, or whatever they were doing over this. So they could probably still be using this if they wanted to. So this is the view of the third arch, so the one on the roadway. This would have been the rightmost one. And see, this is the road. Actually, the covered bridge is down that direction a little bit. But you can see the bridge here is actually a fence on top there. I don't know if you can see it, or the remains of a fence. So there's those wooden posts up there. And the fact that there's posts but no fence is what leads me to believe this is no longer in use. And there's a lot of overgrowth and trees up on top of there as well. But yeah. Not too much traffic, so I'm going to try going under the road portion of it. The peace sign. The smiley face. Some of the woodwork is eroded away. I'm actually going to get on the other side of it, because I think on the other side of it people would have a better view of me. But yeah. So I just paused because some cars went by. But yeah, that's the top of that stone wall. You can see it's actually got this picket stone design to it. And there's the top of the arches. So this gives you a view of them from a higher position, and you can actually see all the overgrowth on top of them. And there's the roadway again. It's raining pretty hard. And there's a few drainage dishes down here. Actually, looks like from here it looks like there's a diamond insignia down there. I'm not sure what it is, but that might give some idea who owned it. But yeah, from here you can see we're almost level to the top of the arches, and you can see all the overgrowth on top of there. And there's a view down from the way I just walked down. That's from the road. There's the GCR on the stupid sign graffiti. And here's just a look at the top of the wall. You see the stonework on top of the wall. Looking a little closer at that diamond, you can see there's letters on it, but I can't quite make out what they actually say from here. Looks like the second letter is a G or something of that nature. But there's no dates on the bridge or anything of that nature that give away when it was constructed. And just one more view of the far side of it. Those are the vines I showed you earlier. And this is the 3 tunnels that comprise it. So there's what is in this shot, the rightmost tunnel is the leftmost tunnel on the other end. That is the tunnel that has the creek in it. There's the middle tunnel, which is the one I walked through, and then there's the road tunnel over there. And you can see at the top there is the top, which, if it was a railroad, which I imagine it was, that would be the level where the railroad was. And over there's another farmer's field, so you can see the corn. So I'm a bit down the road from the tunnel, and I just noticed over here this really interesting farm building, this old farm building. You notice even the sides are actually still made of stonework, so that kind of gives you an idea of the type of area that this railroad would have been passing through. And I believe this is actually still operational as a farm. And there's even some corn down that end, but yeah, this is a really rural piece of farmland. And there's the tunnel. And this bridge is actually just down the grade from it, and as you can see, this is active railroad. So the tunnel would be, if you continue down the track in that direction, it would go over the tunnel and over the creek and the road. So yeah, and it is an active railroad, and there's actually some concrete pillars over there as well. But yeah, I'm actually standing in the woods to the side of the railroad. I'm not going to go on the railroad itself because that would be trespassing, but yeah. Interesting. I wonder who operates this railroad and who built it. Judging by the region, it's probably either Norfolk Southern or CSX who operate it today. And it could have been any of a number of railroads, most likely Lehigh Valley or Central Railroad of New Jersey, or possibly Reading.